I'd like to just for a start show you a little routine that I go through before I get on. And pretty much, you know, even with our old experienced horses, just to help keep them in tune, you know, make sure they'll soften it a bit, see where they're at mentally, and what we can do to keep our horse sort of tuned up without being, some people don't like those words, they have a image of someone tuning something with force, but really all this is making sure that he will still soften and seeing where his state of mind is, you know. So right there, his shoulder come closer to me, he walked at me, I'm going to back him up. I'll use every opportunity I can to make a difference with that, you know. I want to be able to lead him out here, have him rock some weight onto his back legs and step his shoulders across. That's really nice. You can see, compared to the rest of the videos, you can see how much more relaxed he is, you know, and he hasn't been ridden or worked for a few days. There's a little difference in how he's being kept now. So before, he was in a yard and being fed, and you know, and his yard was pretty heavy sand and he was exercising himself in there, so he's sort of fit, but he wasn't burning up all the energy he had, and then he was rugged, and you know, so we're summertime here, even though we had a bit of a storm yesterday, and it's cold here today, so you know, his hair's standing up. But I put him out to live with the rest of our horses, you know, and he's had to learn to fit in with the group, so you'll see a bite mark or two. He hasn't been on grazing for a long time. We're in a drought here, so he's getting lots of hay, obviously, and we hard feed our horses once a day. They get lots of lucerne hay or grass hay, whatever we can get at the time. But when you just tip a horse like this out, it's pretty normal for them to fall away a little bit. You know, they're not rugged all the time, and they're not, you know, and what happens is that they'll fall away for a little bit, and then they'll start to improve again. So, you know, for me, I want to emphasize that, you know, but it's worth going through that. If he's getting plenty to eat and his teeth are okay and he's wormed, he'll learn how to live out there, and he might not look like the horse you want to take to the next show for a little while, but he will get used to that. As long as he's got enough to eat, you know, he'll get used to that environment again, and they'll sort of, it's just part of them changing from a performance horse to a handy horse you might keep in the paddock to take for a ride. And, you know, but don't be alarmed at that initial fall away of, you know, that they've got to learn to live like a horse again, some of these horses. And then there are others that come off the track that are sort of kept in that environment, but that's a consideration. You could talk to someone from, you know, one of the feeding expert people, or I think Feed XL is one in Australia that have a program to help people come up with a good diet for their horse, you know. And some of that initial energy, if they're being really well fed and not really being worked, that initial problem that he had can be a little bit of that too. But getting him in a relaxed environment, you know, he's like a different horse, and what we've done is part of it, but that environment is part of it as well. So, you know, manage your horse, work with him,